Did you make the coffee yet?
Mr. Scott Johnson, how are you doing today?
Doing great, William. Thanks for having me today, and it's great to be here on the beautiful Kennesaw State University campus.
Well, I got to tell you, man, it's a beautiful day in Cobb County. I'm sure you would agree with that.
You know, what better place is there to be than Cobb County, Georgia? And I love the fact that Kennesaw State University Republicans are getting fired up for this campus, for our party, and for the 2022
Yeah,
elections.
man, isn't this a super unique thing? You know,
This is
getting
great.
to know candidates on
Yes.
such a personal level.
It is, and you know, being able to stroll around the campus
Yeah.
and talk to students and folks like you and Emory and understand what's important to you.
Yeah.
And let you know what I think about the future of Georgia and education in Georgia.
Well, you know, Scott, you talk about the future, but I want to delve into the past first.
Yes.
Can you give us a little bit about yourself and some of the things that you've done in the past?
Well, let's talk about the present because this is
okay.
my first time appearing as a candidate on the ballot.
Oh.
Which is pretty great for me because I've spent literally decades helping other Republicans get elected.
Yeah.
And so we can have effective government in Georgia. So we can you know, see the priorities that you and I and other Republicans think are important for us, our values and our priorities at the state capitol and in Washington, D.C. and here locally. And yet, this is my first time on the ballot, and it's so exciting.
How cool is that, man? I mean, you to be instrumental, and this is a cool thing about it, Scott,
Yes.
because you've got perspective, right? You've got perspective on helping the outside, helping the candidates get elected, and you're able to take that perspective and bring it over into your candidacy. I mean, it's got to be a cool thing to see.
It is so much fun, and it is very cool. And so you talk about, you know, let's talk about some history. I've been chairman of the Cobb County Republican Party. Just spent 2 terms doing that. Been chairman of the 11th district of the Georgia Republican Party.
Wow.
So those are the party level leadership that I brought, and then certainly candidate involvement or campaign involvement, chaired campaigns statewide, locally, and now to bring that experience to this candidacy is amazing. Now that's my political experience. My public policy experience is I've spent 10 years nearly. I'm on my 10th year on the State Board of Education.
Wow.
Governor
Wow.
Deal allowed me the opportunity to serve when he appointed me in January 2013. So I'm on my 10th year. It has been a highlight of what I've been able to do in the public side of my career to bring my business perspective to education policy in Georgia.
That is amazing, Scott. Well, you know, education, not enough people talk about education. Not enough people talk about how important that is. I mean, can you give us a little bit of, you know, how you went into that, how the process kind of goes about?
Well, I did not have a background in education when Governor Deal appointed me to the board.
Yeah.
And so in talking with him about why he chose me to be the one of the 14 members and the member from the 11th district, he said, one, I trust you. I trust your government.
Trust is a big
trust
thing.
your judgment. I
Yep.
trust your judgment. And secondly, you know how to effectively work with people to get things done.
Yeah.
And you know, bottom line, that's how we govern. We work together to get things done. If you can't work together with your Republican colleagues and sometimes your colleagues across the aisle, then
Things stagnate.
you stagnate, you're not effective, and ultimately, you know, that's what the future is about, being effective and creating a great state for our future.
You know, Scott, you bring up such a good point because I think a lot of people, especially younger folks like myself and the younger folks in college, they're yearning for that, man. They're yearning for it. They want to see this cooperation. And they're so I guess what's a good word? Annoyed. Let's just keep it simple. They're so annoyed by what they see up in Washington.
Yes.
And you know, I always tell them like, hey, listen, you can go to the state level and you can see cooperation happening.
Very good point. You can, and we must. And but when we work together, when we create an environment where we can talk to one another.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes we have unanimous votes on the board, and sometimes we don't all agree. But when we talk about the issues, and ultimately we come up with policies that are effective for the future of the students in our state. Like last year, I helped craft, along with Scott Sweeney, the chair of the board, who I've been chair of the board. He succeeded me, to pass a resolution against critical race theory.
Yeah, which is incredibly important.
Dangerous part of what some in education want to push their agenda, and nothing about a political agenda, anyone's political agenda should be pressed on our students.
Yeah.
Now, their nation's history, the good, the bad,
yep.
and the ugly.
Because you got to learn from it.
We got to learn from it. Those things are important, and nobody wants to stop that. But victimizing anyone based on their skin color or their ethnicity or their background or their gender doesn't work. Shouldn't be a part of what education in Georgia. We made on the State Board of Education. We made that statement in 2021.
And it's an important statement to make because, you know, a lot of people are starting to wake up to this. And it's such a horrible culture, Scott. It's such a horrible culture, and arguably one of the most important things that we really need to start pushing back against. And it's good to know that we have somebody running that is keeping that in mind. You know, but Scott, I do want to ask, how is the campaign going so far? Have you run into any bumps? You know, have you overcome anything crazy?
Well, you know, you're always every day is different.
Yeah.
And today's different from, I love what we're doing, and thank you to the Kennesaw State Republicans.
Yeah, man.
This is wonderful, but a day might be spent knocking on doors, or going to an event in the district. Might have been an Easter egg hunt last week, or countless things that allow me to understand voters' issues, allow them to understand something more about Scott Johnson, so I can ask for their vote, earn their vote, and then so when I'm the senator, I can do an effective job in knowing what the constituents of the 37th district.
You know, Scott, you bring up a great point, because, you know, I talked with Kay Kirkpatrick about this. And one of the biggest driving home points is the ability to get down to, you know, door knocking, like you said, but talking to your constituents and telling them, I am your representative. I am here for you. It is literally my job to represent you. And getting personal with them and understanding, you know, what it is that they're wanting. I mean, that's super important. So, I mean, is that a big thing for you?
It is important, and it's far more important to me to hear what is in priorities to the people that live in the 37th district than it is from them to hear from me. I want them to learn about Scott Johnson, what my priorities are, what my goals are in the Senate. But I can't be effective unless I know whom they are in their heart, what's important to them, and how I can be more effective to help their lives.
Right. Well, Scott, I got one last question for you.
Yes.
So if you were to talk to a college student right now, a KSU college student, who is kind of struggling with letting their conservatism out on a college campus, what would you tell them?
Well, I would tell them, be bold, that it's easy on a college campus, even KSU, to think I'm in this fight alone. I don't have any comrades. There's nobody with my conservative values. But that's not the truth, and William, you and I know that's not the truth.
Right.
But I appreciate what Kennesaw State University Republicans are doing, and other groups like Turning Point, that that provide a base to say, hey, we're here and you're not alone. Come join us. Come be a part of what we're doing, and together we can be effective.
Well, Scott Johnson, thank you so much for joining us today. I had a pleasure talking to you.
My pleasure, William. Thank you.
All right now.